ABC 17 News investigates why a county coroner made an unprecedented mistake.
Joy Chance came to me with her experience with Miller County Coroner Tim Bradley following her husband's death. She tells me the coroner wouldn't do an autopsy on her husband, despite one expert saying it's exactly the kind of case a coroner should call for one.
They all show up.
Joy Chance wishes she could relive May 24th.
Definitely the best day of my life, though.
Her husband, Dustin, surprised her with a weekend camping trip at Majestic Oaks in Miller County. They spent the day hiking, fishing, and sitting around a campfire together. It was May 25th that the trip changed.
Had a few drinks, and then we went to bed, and I woke up and he wasn't breathing.
First responders arrived on scene around 5 in the morning. Dustin had died in the middle of the night. Joy Chance wondered how a 36-year-old with little to no medical history could suddenly pass away in the middle of the night. That's when Miller County Coroner Tim Bradley came to the campground to determine the cause of death. And Joy Chance says Bradley's work only left her more hurt and with more questions. Joy told Bradley on scene that Dustin snored and had been treated years ago for high blood pressure. Bradley put on Dustin's death certificate that he died from undiagnosed sleep apnea. Bradley also said he wasn't going to do an autopsy, a procedure where a pathologist would test different organs to detect conditions or diseases.
So I begged for an autopsy, and he told me that he couldn't justify one because they were a poor county.
How do you think it's been handled, I guess, from the coroner's perspective of things? How do you think it's been handled?
I don't feel like it has been handled well. I think
Kathleen Little is the executive director of the Missouri Coroners Association. She says coroners rely on law enforcement reports and a person's medical history to come up with a cause of death. Have you ever put undiagnosed on a death certificate?
No, that was the first time. So.
And why did you do it in that case?
That was because I looked at my notes wrong, plain and simple. I thought it was that, and I was in a hurry.
Tim Bradley admits he made a mistake on the cause of death. Once we started asking questions, Bradley asked the state to change the cause of death to hypertension. Are you even sure that hypertension is what causes death?
I'm fairly sure, yeah.
Fairly sure.
Because he also had the history of alcohol abuse. One of the side effects of that is hypertension.
He says he usually calls for an autopsy if he believes something criminal led to the person's death. In Dustin's case, he didn't think that happened. Little says an autopsy can get a coroner and a family answers about the death. Pathologists may find diseases or conditions coroners can't see. Those conditions could be genetic, and an autopsy may help family members know if they're at risk.
when someone suddenly dies unexpectedly, you have no medical records or, information to back up a diagnosis, then, you want to give the family answers.
Bradley says he worries about the cost of autopsies to the county. Miller County budgets for 3 autopsies a year. Records we obtained show the county had paid for its 3rd autopsy on May 24th, a day before Dustin's death. Since then, though, it's paid for 4 more autopsies, now costing the county $12,000.
I don't think that anyone should put a price tag on what it costs to get family answers in the worst situation of their life.
If I had more money budgeted, I'd probably, order more autopsies, without a doubt.
And you think Dustin would have been one of them?
He might have been, yeah.
Joy says not having an autopsy has left her confused. Bradley's decision to change the cause of death doesn't comfort her either.
He doesn't understand how it feels of not knowing how he died, and every day wondering if you could have gotten him up sooner, if things would have been different. And I don't think it's right that he got to make that decision.
Bradley says the situation has led to his office making some changes.
I don't care how hard of a time or how big of a fight I end up getting into, anybody under the age of 40 will get an autopsy. I know I've got to be responsible, but at the same time, I'm not going to put somebody else through this. I'm not going to take the chance.
There are few state laws dictating when a coroner must get an autopsy. It's only required when a child under 1 year old dies. Now, both Bradley, Little, and Chance all agreed some state guidance would be helpful to handle situations like Joy Chance's.